How we doing today, man? As you guys know, yesterday was a pretty brutal day. Didn't really follow my rules well. Kind of just, yeah, tough day on the journey. But we come back today and we did better. We changed one thing that maybe almost didn't change anything, but I'll go over that. I changed one rule or one like stipulation, and it is how many trades I'm taking, which is now going to be limited to two. And how am I going to make sure of that? I lock my account after my second trade, so I set it to where it locks me out after two. Currently, you guys are watching a paper trade that I'm babysitting right here. I didn't enter right here. I've just been averaging and practicing just pyramiding my entries, which is fun to learn. My first take profit here is going to be just the equilibrium point of these just like low resistance liquidity lows. Reason why this trade is so hesitant right now is because we are in a higher resistance liquidity run right now, which is why we've been seeing price like this, which is why I am on paper. I mean, I took my two trades, but I'm on paper now, even if I wasn't, even if I did, or gosh, I'm saying it wrong, but today is one of those days where the price is really, really tough to try and be non-emotional in because you're getting a lot of this. Right, you can get clear price action, but you're getting a lot of this, right? We come down, we chop, high resistance liquidity, boom, trade back up higher into this fair value gap, hold this gap, and then go lower. So I'll kind of go over the reason for this trade and then basically summarize the two trades I got. But really, really happy with today. The bounce back after a tough losing day and make a little bit of money. We actually made 30 bucks. Again, why did we make less than we lose? Because we took one loss today and we took a win, right? We made more than we lost by $30 more, so that's why we lose more than we win, right? And if we want to see the settings, I have the 2 trades per day maximum, locks me out, so that's cool. And look, this is high resistance liquidity. Look at this. It's probably gonna come stop me out, honestly, but high resistance liquidity. You get everything you want to see in price. Price is going well, and then it just rips face in front of you. For what I can tell, no real reason, right? No real reason, which is, again, why I'm paper trading this now. This is a really, really tricky day. These are days where their accounts get blown because it's just so high resistance. Like, we did not need to pull back up to this fair value gap or turtle soup these highs or anything like that. At this point, I don't even know what it's drawing to besides, like, my stop loss. But like I want to put my stop at like this protected high here, or not protected high, but I want to put my stop here just because it has another inversion. I want to see if we do anything here. I will be surprised if we sweep these highs and keep going higher though. So I mean, I could have my stop here, but I kind of want to just let it play out. And it's still a 1-to-1, so still technically fine. But what was the idea behind the trade today overall in the grand picture? Let's just go to the chart here and just kind of whatever it's called, go over everything. We're in a high time from 4 hour, like from weeks and weeks ago. Coming into the day, I had a loose bias, right? But I was mainly short bias because we left this equal low right here. As you can see right here, we have this equal low equal with this one. So I wanted to see us come do something and come back down and revisit this. And I had this high and this high as potential liquidity sweep areas for us to get some sort of rejection off of. We had this big new day opening gap that we were respecting pretty well. So I didn't come in with a very strong bias either way, but I wanted to see some sort of manipulation and some draws in liquidity. So we had the relative equal lows right here. We were super bearish from the news that came out. This is precision right here. New week opening gap from weeks ago right here. We trade up to it. Precision, rips lower. Makes sense why yesterday was a random bull day. It was randomly a really bullish day is because it was building all the liquidity, right? These markets have to induce liquidity for these big news events. So why did we rip off open all the way up till here, 500 points yesterday for no reason when we were like bearish as heck off the new week gap? Why do we do that? Because we're generating liquidity for this move. And then, so come into the day after a big move like this, I mean, I have never seen anything like this. So I don't really have a great game plan. Came in with a loose bias, wanted to see something. So what did we do? We left the high here, and we left these highs. So we come up off open, we rip. We don't take it out. ES does take it out right here. So ES takes it out right at the same time. Notice we come down and we come back up. ES doesn't resweep this high. NQ then makes the SMT right here. We swept out the high on NQ. So we have a bearish SMT right there. We had the bearish SMT after sweeping out the high. And then we get the change in state delivery right here. So this alone could have been your entry. You could have entered off of the change in state delivery. Right here, SMT, change in state delivery, higher time frame fair value gap, which was the 1 hour gap right here. Right, that's Justin's forever model. I like to trade inversions. I could have taken this inverse trade, but yeah, I would have to take it there and leave my stop at the high, really. Again, high resistance liquidity. You wouldn't want to see it reject like this after taking this low in here. We chop. We pump up. And when we ended up holding this fair value gap right here, this is when I decided to look for my first trade. And I got in short on this 2-minute gap right here. And this was the framework for both of my trades. And I'll kind of go over what happened, right? My first trade, I got in and I put a hard stop at this high right here. The risk about half of my 150 for the day, which is my risk for the day. I was going to target just 100 points just because I didn't need a hold all the way to the low. And that was above a 2 risk reward. And we get stopped out there. The reason I had such a tight stop is because it's half of my risk for the day. If I'm trying to take 2 trades, I shouldn't really be risking more than 150. If I really was like trading well, I would have my stop above the high here and then a close above. But I literally can't risk 79 points, like technically, because of my risk. I can only risk $150. So I quite literally can't risk 79 points, even with 1 micro. So I tried to have a tighter stop. I was hoping that we would just dump from here, right? Go break even at this low. And it didn't happen. But this fair value gap ends up continuing to hold. We had news at 10 that was a little bit volatile. We put in the data wick. And my next entry was right here because we were still respecting the inversion. Right when we closed below here on the 15-second chart, I went in short because we had this order block now, and I was risking the top of this fair value gap, I believe, or up to this wick, the midpoint, and I'll pull up the execution now. So I'm happy with this trade. I do think this was a good trade. It's not my typical entry, but it's because I didn't get the entry on video because it's so quick. But the reason why I was so confident is because we had the data low, and I also had I just had confidence in the data low, plus the 2-minute inversion was still holding, and I wanted to see this get ran through. So we ended up running through this. If I didn't already lose, I would have actually added my position here. And my main target was just to get into this fair value gap right here because ES was a lot lower to these lows. So I wanted to just see us get as much into this fair value gap or into a 5-minute that was here as we could. And see, I didn't go break even right away. Normally I would go break even at this low, and I was like, you know what? Since I knew this was my last trade because it would lock me out, I had to be more disciplined. I had to be more, or not even disciplined, but I had to be more patient with the trade because I didn't want to move my stop loss to break even right now and get stopped at break even. See, I was just measuring out where was this, right, the bottom of this wick. I kind of want to see the distance. And I was like, cool, I don't want to get stopped at break even early. I don't want to get stopped out because then I'm going to lose on the day. I'm not going to be able to make money on the day. And right, I would lose on the day. I wouldn't make money on the day. And I wouldn't be able to trade again. So there was no reason for me to get stopped at break even. So I left my stop in place, which I'm really happy about, which is why maybe setting the lockout feature will help me because it'll help me avoid just being allowed to just scalp and scalp and scalp. I don't like one trade a day because I do think that sometimes you just either get wicked out or you just take the wrong trade and then you get a better idea for the market. I don't think that one trade is really the answer for me, but 2 trades, right? The way I look at it is if I lose twice, I should be done regardless. If I win twice, I should be done regardless. I should probably be done after 1 win. And dang straight, if I lose and then win, I should be done, right? So I should be done for the day after 2 trades no matter what. Obviously, it would be unfortunate to take 2 trades and lose one and then move to break even too early. But I shouldn't be taking a trade that is going to break even too early. So happy with this. I was risking $55 at this point, so I would have lost like 120 on the day and it would have been done. I just wanted to give this. I really gave a lot of importance to this imbalance right here that we closed below. I really thought that this would be like the midpoint. And if we were really going lower, we probably shouldn't go through here. My chart froze here, so I was like, man, this would suck if I get stopped out here. But I refreshed and we weren't. We were doing all right. And I was like, cool. We rebalanced to this fair value gap. I want to see us now make an order block here. Kind of speed through this real quick here. And we did get an order block. And at this point, I was like, cool. I want to see it flush through. We were down 74, right? So I leave my I move my stop loss to break even, I believe. We're on this order block high or break even. Yeah, I put it there. And then I just make the decision to close the trade in the consequent encroachment of the 5-minute, just because of the fact of where ES was. So this was at 10:07. So I want to go over a few things. 10:07. So this was 10:07. Where are we? 10:07 right here, right? We came down, consequent encroachment of the 5-minute. We had already been showing signs of high resistance liquidity right here, and right here, and even right here, right? So I didn't want to get greedy with this move down here, especially being down on the day, especially since I couldn't get back into another trade, especially since I couldn't partial. I did not want to get greedy. Again, high resistance liquidity. I did not want to get greedy and hold for forever, but then also if we take a look at ES at 10:07, 10:07 right here, this is 10:07, this candle right here, we had already swept out all the draws on liquidity. So I was paying attention to that. Obviously, I have my ES on this chart, and I was paying attention. I was looking. And let's see if we end up getting this low. If we didn't, then we could have probably held till longer, but 10:13. So 10:07 was here, but we swept these lows, and we left this one. So I guess I could have held till 10:13, which would have gotten us to here, which would have gotten us a little bit more money. But even if I got the best possible exit on 10:13, it would have been, it would have been another $50. But in the grand scheme, this would have been all it was, and it would chop me around. This would give me a break even because I don't think I should hold past here, especially when ES takes out the draws on liquidity when we make an S&P. I shouldn't hold my stop. So it would have been a tricky to navigate. So I'm more than happy with my exit just because I was recognizing the conditions and recognizing just my whatever, right? So I'm really happy with how I managed the trade. That's how I managed the trade. That was my idea behind the trade, the SMT, the change in state delivery, holding this fair value gap, getting the inversion, right? Really, really good. On ES here, we actually had like a nicer, do we have a nicer entry? Like, again, high resistance liquidity, right? We close below the 3-minute here, and we fill the entire imbalance and some, right? It's a very tricky day to navigate. So if you lost today, do not feel bad on it. Like, literally do not feel bad, man, because this was a very tricky market to navigate. Like, this is really, really crazy. We just got this inversion, so now I would be very shocked if we don't keep going. At this point, I would say that if it tags this low right here, these equal lows, you would just have to go break even if you're still in this trade and just accept the fact that you got stopped at break even after being in the trade for forever. Equal lows. But I would actually partial there now, just considering all things considered, and then you go break even. Because really, this is such high resistance liquidity, right? We're going to trail our stop now down to this inversion. We souped this high. This should be a turtle soup, right? Why? It's respecting consequent encroachment of the inversion right here. Let's move this thing out. We're respecting consequent encroachment of this inversion fair value gap. Again, the most sensitive area on the chart right now, in my opinion. And we turtle soup that high, right? We wicked above it. We didn't close above it. So I would say that this is a turtle soup. Hindsight, obviously, I didn't watch this live, but I would have anticipated that as well. And then we got this inversion again out of that turtle soup. And I don't know if we had a 15-minute or anything, a 5-minute. We had a tiny 5-minute fair value gap up here as well. So again, very, very high resistance liquidity. If we turn this off, we have a 5-minute gap right here that we came up, souped inside the inversion, consequent encroachment, souped it, didn't close above, and then we got an inversion out. So again, the price section today is very clean and really nice to read on paper, but this is not a day that you're going to have any fun trading if you're not on paper. I can promise you that. because this is just a very nightmare price action scenario. Even this right here, you would already have wanted to sell through here, especially when it gets down this close and it's holding consequent encroachment of this little wick right here. I'm not saying that that's really that important, but you really don't like to see that. Like, it really should just flush there. So that would be, I mean, this is just a really tough trade. There's a really, really brutal trading day. I mean, this is really testing your patience. Even on paper, this is aggravating to watch. But yeah, this technically should be your protected high, in my opinion. I don't think that we should come back up here if this trade was to be a winner. And we're about to hit the take profit again. Really, really reluctant, right? Really reluctant to take out any liquidity in the market. Finally got it out. It filled me down lower because it sells your highest contract, which is like really annoying. But now technically I would definitely trail my stop here because we locked in 270. So now we're risking. So now we're basically risking that partial, right? And that basically puts this stop loss to be break even. So we need to hit lower to basically get any reward out of the trade. I might trail my stop here or trail my take profit. But I'm not sure. I think we'll leave it. But you see kind of how this now becomes a one-to-one in a sense, where we made $276 because we closed the micro that we entered way up here. We entered right on this consequent encroachment, this 2-minute inversion for our starter position. If we just pull up the executions here, we got in here at 94, which is right around here. Consequent encroachment, a little bit above. We added when we inversed here, and then we added in a 15-second right around here. We added in this 15-second, and we added when we got this inversion down here, and we just never continued to pump or dump. I mean, realistically, if you were in this trade, you probably should have taken all profits at this equal low just because of the high resistance liquidity. But again, this is paper, so it doesn't matter if I make money on this count. It's just about reading price, getting better, and learning. So it's really, it's not really about anything else other than that. You can even trail your stop here. It doesn't really matter as long as you don't lose overall. So I would say probably just give it 40 points of drawdown at the bottom of this fair value gap. We shouldn't come back into this inversion. We've already used it enough times. And yeah, I would like to see now us close below. I mean, the video is done in terms of what I'm explaining, but now you guys can just watch me walk through how I read through price action and hold trades. Because again, I promise I can actually read price action a lot better than like I do when I'm in a live trade. Because again, why can I do this well is because I can afford to lose, right? Because it's paper. I can afford to lose on the actual counts too, but it feels a lot worse to lose when it's real money, right? So I can just sit here and walk through this trading day, SMT, change in state delivery, right? I can hold my targets for more bold targets because I can take partials, because I can scale in, because I can target the 2 standard deviation. How did I get this, right? I anchored my fib tool from the manipulation leg. So right here, the move up that swept out the highs that made the SMT, that's the manipulation, right? We manipulated higher and then we displaced lower. So we don't know this live time, but we know when we break lower, we know that we can start scaling targets. Look what happens when we hit the -1 right here. We get the -1, we start chopping, right? And then we can have our target -2 standard deviation, I have it the consequent encroachment, and I have my final take profit at the -4, right? Again, high resistance liquidity. But how come I can read the market well when I'm on paper? Is because I don't have to deal with all the stress of losing. I can just sit here and observe for what it is. I can read the market for what it is. 2-minute inversion, out of the 1-minute gap, out of the change of state delivery, out of the SMT, out of the 1 hour fair value gap over here, right? We displace lower, we break through this low, right? We have an inversion, we're holding. We soup the 5-minute, right? And we continue lower. We're about to make a 2-minute order block here if we close below, and I think this will be the last little push we need. We might want to just reach up into this 3-minute gap for some reason, but right? Like all these things, it's so much easier to read price action and to like. Do you think I could execute this trade if I was on my actual count? Definitely not right now, but eventually I could, because eventually I'm gonna get the skill set and the mental to be able to hold through this and be able to risk $227, even though I've already taken some partials, right? And that's where I want to get. That's where I want to get with my trading. Honestly, I would probably, even if I was managing this trade for real, I would probably move my stop loss to there. Like even though it's high resistance liquidity, I don't think we should come back up to even here. But because of the day, I kind of want to just leave my stop loss here now, and just leave it here and just keep being patient and see what happens. But really, you shouldn't lose any more money on this trade, in my opinion. But like, we should take this low here. If we tag this low, what I would do is I would have a limit sell right here, or a stop buy right here, and then I would basically have it right here, so we can basically partial out of the trade and not take as big of a stop out, but not have to get break even on the entire position. So if we tag that low, I will decide to so it looks like we want to make a 2-minute order block in 5 seconds. So we have the 2-minute order block. I would actually keep my stop here. And this basically means I can stop out a break even on one of them, but then if it comes back up and reaches into this 3-minute gap right here and reaches into the 3-minute gap, I can still be in the trade and maybe get some of it. So if we go below this low right here, I will then trail this, or we hit this profit target. So that's how I would manage this. I do want to see us, notice how we use this order block right here. I do want to see us make another one right here. And then that should be it. That should bring us to where we need to be if we can get lower than this close. But again, it's high resistance liquidity. I've probably said it 100 times in this video. But it's true, man. This is rough price action. I don't know. I feel sorry for anyone that's traded this today and been trying to hold their trade. I mean, this is tough work. But this is why I love to just paper trade after I'm done for the day, because I get to build this experience, even though it's not the same emotionally. I get to build the experience of seeing the market play out, seeing the PDRAs deliver, seeing how a high resistance liquidity day works, right? This is equal lows now. Like, we should revisit this. I haven't looked at ES in a long time just because I'm on this video, but we should revisit. I mean, we have equal lows on ES as well. But again, we already reached this strong liquidity. We probably want to tap this unfilled 4-hour gap. Which is cool. Looks like we're about to sell off here. Let's hope we get this equal low tap, and then again, like I said, I'll be aggressive towards that low. I could even move my take profit there, for sure, but I do want to just kind of see if we can get it. So this is how I would manage this. I would go like this now. So if it wants to wick up, and I'll get rid of this if we do, whichever one gets filled first. So it looks like that one's gonna get filled. So we did get filled there. So now that's nice, right? We just took our second partial. Now we're up to $400, and even if we leave our stop loss at this inversion fair value gap, we'll still be in profit. But now I would actually trail my stop to this high because we did hit our last draw on liquidity. And we made a 1-to-1 on whatever we were risking the most, right? When you guys started watching the video, you guys saw that I was risking $400. We now have secured over a 1-to-1 with just partially half of the trade. So I would actually do something like this, where I do a stop buy right here, and I would leave it above this order block, and then I have this one on this order block so that we can kind of get partial out at different spots, right? This would make me an extra $20 or $40, which is nice in the long run. So right now, if we get stopped out break even on both, we'd make another $60. If we hit take profit here on one take profit, we would make another $100. So we're going to trail our stop or our take profit. I think I'll be happy with the -2 on this trade, or I'll keep the consequent encroachment, but I don't know if we have the weakness to get in there. I'm just going to do the -2 standard deviation, and then I'm going to do the -2 to 2.5 and not go for the 4, and we'll go for consequent encroachment for our final TP right there. So we should get the last one there. So now we got that one. I don't need this anymore, and I can let it play out to this consequent encroachment level, which would secure me a 2R on this position scaling in, which is really, really nice. A nice hold, a nice delivery, nice everything. So real quick, just summarize this trade, even though I've been summarizing it. This is a very, very perfect high resistance liquidity inversion whatever model, right? We had a beautiful, beautiful trade here, right? Let's just make sure everything, I'm about to take a screenshot for this, but this is a beautiful trading day right here. This is a perfect model. I wish I had my fill where I got in so I could like take a nicer screenshot, but This is a beautiful execution, right? We get in here, all things considered, we start or it's pyramiding, and then, yeah, everything about this picture right here is beautiful. Let's just see it hit the take profit real quick. Needs about 12, 13 more points. And yeah, I would start trailing my stop here to there, to guarantee that. Really just at this equal low even. Or I'll put it at this high, right, the 2 to 2.5, and now we either hit the lower portion or we come back out of it, right? And then we're done on this paper account. So let's see, did we hit the midpoint of the midpoint? Yeah, we did. So we're out of the trade there. That's my full execution on the paper trade. Do we hit the midpoint of our target, right? 2 to 2.5 is just a projection. You don't have to get there, but it is always nice to see. Let's move this back. So that's the day, man. Sorry that I just kind of started managing that trade, but I wanted to kind of do a live walkthrough of a trade, right? This is why I always say, when people tell me to go to paper to practice my skill, like, I can trade on paper really well. You guys just saw it. That was a really good management of my trade, a really good management. And again, not to like brag, I'm not a world-class trader. I don't do this full time yet, right? Yet. I'm not making tons of payouts yet, right? But this is why I always say paper isn't your answer, right? Your answer is do some meditation, do some prayer work, do the things that you need. Work on yourself as a human being and practice the emotional side. You can only get better at something when you face your fears. And my fear is holding my trades. My fear is losing. My fear is everything else. I can only improve if I face my fears, right? I have to face them head on. I have to attack my fears by saying, you know what, I'm not gonna be afraid anymore, right? Just like we said, Macaulay Culkin, right? I'm not afraid anymore. You have to attack your fears head on. You can't paper trade your way to profitability, right? You can't, you just can't, man. And yeah, it's unfortunate that you can't, but you have to just practice the things that scare you. And that's what I'm doing every day. But again, paper trade after you're done for the day. Maybe take one day out of the week to paper trade solely, right? I might start doing that. I might start doing where Monday or Friday, I just paper trade the entire day, and I take all the steps I can possibly want, and I just paper trade and tapery basically with just like some entries behind it. And that's my goal, is to just maybe do a day like that so that I can have one day where there's no stress and I can just read price action, but then the rest of the week I can practice with the stress, right? Practice in the stressful environment, right? You want to be ready for game day. When you're practicing a sport, you're prepping for game day. Every single day is game day when you come into the market, right? So I appreciate all you guys. I'm glad we had a really nice execution and video here, and you could explain and talk about price action. Really great day. We all got better today. I appreciate all the support on this channel recently. It really means a lot. I love every single one of you guys that tries to motivate me and stuff when I have bad days like yesterday. And I'm more than stoked today with today's trading, and I'm happy to do it again tomorrow, man. It's another day in the journey. Slowly but surely, just like this turtle up here, we'll make our way to the finish line. I love and appreciate all you guys. Tell somebody you love them, and have a great day. Get outside, do something fun, do something fit. And I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.